celebrate Christmas together, I think it's important to stop and consider this moment in human history. Sometimes we can move past Christmas, we can get familiar, and we can forget the significance of Christ in our own lives, but also his profound impact on the world you and I enjoy. Isaiah chapter 9, verse 2, the prophet predicts that Jesus would come 700 years before he does, and this is one of his prophecies. He says, "The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. A light has dawned on those living in the land of darkness." I think it's important as we enter into a discussion about this season to acknowledge that darkness is the baseline for humanity. That we all start in darkness. From that very first fall in Genesis 3, all the way through our own lives, our natural default position as human beings is not light, it's darkness. John chapter 1, verses 4 through 7, the Apostle John says this about Jesus: "In him was life, and that life was the light of men. That light shines in the darkness, yet the darkness did not overcome it. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify about the light, so that all might believe through him." You know, when you study Scripture for more than just a little while, you see this distinction. You know, the Bible is a book of distinctions: light and dark, good and evil, right and wrong. Anytime you see light and life together, they're matched. They can't be separate. Where there's light, there's life. Where there's life, there's light. You know, I started thinking about lights. You know, I don't know what it is about the Christmas season, but the Christmas season is all about lights. You know, you started looking for the best places to see Christmas lights right after Thanksgiving. I do it every year, and in our town, it seems to change where the best place is. You know, maybe you spent some time at Blora this year, or at Zilker Park, or Christmastown in Round Rock. Maybe you're thinking, I didn't even know that existed. Maybe next year. You know, there are places, light shows from Gatesville to Marble Falls back to Waco. My wife and I had the opportunity to go to what I believe is the greatest light show I've seen to date with some friends at the Circuit of the Americas. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend those lights. The truth is, we're fascinated by lights. This whole season is all about lights. Your eyes are made for light, because without them, you stumble around in the darkness. You don't know which way is up and which way is around. The truth is, you and I, we desperately need light. You're not designed to live in the dark. It's amazing how the Christmas season just seems to illuminate things in our life. I don't know if you've noticed that, but every time, everything has a tendency in the Christmas season to get exaggerated, right? Because Christmas has a way of just kind of lighting up those things we really haven't thought about in a while. Christmas accentuates the great things in our life, but it also uncovers and shows the not so great things. For example, Christmas often lights up our loneliness. We're in one of the most connected times in all of human history, although it's never been easy to know a lot of people but be known by no one. You might even be in this room thinking, "Pastor, I'm surrounded by all these people, but I still feel alone." Maybe Christmas is lighting up your emptiness. There's a lot of that going around. You're thinking, "Man, I'm just feeling so depressed. It's like there's this dark cloud over my life." And as much as we love to look out at the world and blame it on the darkness around us, we all know at times there's darkness in us. Christmas may be highlighting all that's shattered or missing from your family, maybe that person that's missing from the table. While we love Christmas, it also leads us to these moments where we realize that everything's not as bright in our life as it should be. It's this distinction between light and darkness. And if there was ever a time to just pause before the beginning of a new year, to consider your own life, the trajectory of your life, to maybe reevaluate and move some things around in your life, it would be this time. You know, light and darkness are major themes in God's kingdom as well. Scripture is packed with stories and accounts contrasting the light and the dark, life and death. God himself says, "I've set before you this day life and death, blessing and curse. Oh, that you would choose life, that it would go well for you." Again, anywhere there's life, you see light. The first pages of Scripture open up with God speaking to the darkness, "Let there be light." You know, that's really what the Christmas story is all about. Just like in the first pages of Scripture, that's what happened on Christmas night. A great light. Let there be light.